Hey everybody, welcome back. We're about to take a look at another game in my pinball machine collection, and today we're taking a look at Scared Stiff. This is actually the second machine that was produced by Bally with Elvira, Mistress of the Dark. This one came out in 1996, and what was nice about this model was that, you know, the dot matrix display was there, the DCS sound system Williams had started to adopt was in place. There was a lot more gimmicks and stuff they could do, and so it's kind of fun because Elvira and the Party Monsters, the first game, feels a lot more like a System 11 and earlier 80s game, which is fine too. I love those. Whereas Scared Stiff feels a little more like a 90s pinball, and so you get kind of both eras there of the solid state world of Williams, and it's great. What else is nice about the Elvira games is, first of all, Elvira is a great theme and it seems to work with pinball really well. And second of all, Elvira herself is a huge pinball fan, and she had a hand in each one of the games. She did all the custom speech.
What a huge bone!
I mean, it's just a really, really great thing for both machines, and Scared Stiff is actually my favorite of the two. Basically, the rules of Scared Stiff are you want to start up the Stiff-O-meter, and the way you do that is by completing all these tales of terror that are printed right here on the playfield. Each one of these tales has some unique things. You've got the Stiff in the coffin that kind of pops out. You've got the skull ramp. You got the deadheads up at the top corner. You have the monsters lab that are the bumpers up here at the top right. You also have these frogs, Night of the Leapers, and these frogs literally jump up and they hit the glass. And then of course you have the terror from the crate. When you hit the crate enough here in the center, the crate actually unlocks and then the ball can be shot into the crate, and that's one of the main bashes in the game. When you complete them all, you then light up the Stiff-O-meter, and then your goal is to get all the way up to the top of the Stiff-O-meter and become Scared Stiff. Now that's actually not the easiest thing to do. It's not that hard to start the Stiff-O-meter and to get all the tails, but to complete the Stiff-O-meter, it's not always going to happen, so it's kind of cool. There's a spider that spins around, which is kind of neat because you don't see back box toys too often. And basically, you shoot the spider hole when it's lit. When the spider hole is lit, the spider spins around. You use the flipper buttons to stop the spider, and wherever the spider stops is the award you get. And there's a bunch of awards. Now, if you can get all the awards in one game, you can start Spider Multi-Ball, which is kind of like another one of the wizard modes of the game. I've never done it. It's very, very hard to do it. And so it's kind of nice. There's just that extra little layer of something. It's a fun game to play. Like I said, it's not as complex as a lot of the games, but if you enjoy it, you'll find yourself playing it a lot. It's got a great atmosphere to it. Now, Scared Stiff was released in 1996, and it came out at a time when arcades were closing. You know, games in general in the arcades just were not doing well, and so it was kind of a different time. Scared Stiff is notorious for being really, really, really cost-cut. It was one of the biggest victims of cost-cutting. Dennis Nordman, who designed it, had all these little gimmicks and stuff in there, and all these little things that eventually Williams and Bally chopped one at a time in order to keep the cost down. Now, I'm not the kind of person that likes to put add-ons onto the machines. I like to keep them as factory as possible. But sometimes when something is a prototype, or if there's a possibility of adding something back in that was maybe cut for cost reasons, I enjoy adding those. If you take a look at the bones in the game, they originally were supposed to be exactly as you see them here. They were supposed to be color washed. They were supposed to have that sort of shadowy look to them, and instead they just released plain white. These were also glow-in-the-dark. You can buy glow-in-the-dark reproduction parts for Scared Stiff. I didn't go quite that far. I just took a little bit of paint and I followed some directions on the internet, and I color washed my bones, painted my claw flashers white, and also color washed those. So at least it gives you a similar look, and it also matches, you know, the color washed bones on some of these plastics and some of the inlanes and outlanes. The skull pile at the top right originally was supposed to have red LEDs. And it's kind of neat because they light up as you complete the different modes. And it gives it a really nice finished look in that top right corner. And there is a kit you can buy. Some people actually put multicolored eyes in there too. There's a whole bunch of ways you can go with it. I went with the original red. I also added some candle flames. Dennis Nordman actually talked about that in one of his interviews, that it was supposed to have, the candles were supposed to light up, and so some people have found ways to make that work, and that's the way I got that to work. The dancing boogeyman right here on the slingshot kickers, they were stationary on the production Scared Stiff. And the original Scared Stiff, they were exactly like they are now. They actually click along with the slingshot so that their hands kind of flail around. I think the reason it was cut is because the arms actually eventually snap off. I've had one break so far, and you can buy this kit where you can fit your slingshots to also kick the boogeyman. This is an eyeball shooter on the actual flyer or on the poster for Scared Stiff. This one looks a lot more like what they were originally planning. I also put some red transparent paper in the eyes of the skull ramp here in the front. I know there's some other things you can do to the game. People get a little out of control with some of it, but this actually I think gives it a great look. I loved the way it all came together. So in a sense, now it looks almost the way it was originally supposed to, with a few added additions. So it was fun to do. I actually bought my Scared Stiff in 2006. It was a location game that was exported. In other words, it was sent overseas, and then it came back to America, and I got it when it came back to America. And so it didn't have that much wear, and it wasn't used that much. Collectors really love it. It's still highly sought after, and the more little things you've done to it, the more people seem to want it. And so it's still fetching a pretty decent price, and it's still pretty popular. And I think it's rightfully so, a great late model Bally Williams game. So, till next time.
Keep all body parts inside the crate.